There is a popular narrative that William Ruto is a one-time president, but as for me, I say that William Ruto is a two-term president unless deliberate measures are taken to ensure that the Ruto administration does not grab a second term. William Ruto, just like Daniel Arap Moi, is a professor of politics, and this is somebody who has his political methodology and tactics figured out in such a way that he is never caught by surprise about anything done by his opponents. In this video, I want us to look at the political power combination that will beat William Ruto and his allies in the forthcoming 2027 presidential elections, and without any further ado, let's get into it. People in factories and offices are replacing William Ruto's official portraits with whoever they think should occupy the office of the president, and this is clearly what tells us that the ground has shifted beneath the UDA camp. There are four people who can make the defeat of William Ruto either possible or impossible, and these are Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musoka, Dr. Fred Matiangi, and Okia Omtata, among others that we will mention as we proceed with our discussion. If both Kalonzo, Matiangi, and Omtata are both interested in being president, then William Ruto will win with a landslide come 2027. But if these instrumental individuals consolidate their powers and influences into one single basket, then William Ruto will be sent back to Sugoi before midday in 2027. The choice of president, deputy president, speaker of the National Assembly, and that of the Senate has to be clearly looked into. Otherwise, Wembe wa Ruto ni ule ule. Number one, the most preferred candidate for president who can at least compete with the political strength and financial muscle of William Ruto is Kalonzo Musoka for the following reasons. Kalonzo Musoka is already loved by the mountain and the general electorate and will most likely receive the endorsement of people like the Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni and a host of other small-wig politicians in the mountain. In fact, Rigathi Gachagua will have no option other than to endorse Kalonzo Musoka for president. Remember, on Sunday, former DP Rigathi Gachagua announced that as from next year, he will join hands with other politicians and Kenyans to create a major political movement that will counter the influence of William Samoei Ruto and eventually deny him a second term in office. Kalonzo Musoka is 70 years as we speak, and he has gathered a lot of experience as a former vice president and also in his political alliance with ODM leader Raila Odinga in the past. Kalonzo is not a young man who would just want to steal and eat and enrich himself, but rather he is a 70-year-old man who would only watch his grandchildren grow and wait for his death. So we can say that Kalonzo Musoka has seen it all and he is politically mature for this position. I can assure you that Kalonzo Musoka will be Rigathi's most preferred candidate for president. Mount Kenya constitutes about 20% of the total registered Kenyan voters. The mountain is against William Ruto as we speak, and therefore any candidate flagged by Rigathi Gachagua who now enjoys immense support will gather into his basket majority of the votes in the region. Ukambani region, which is Kalonzo Musioka's backyard, constitutes about 70% of the total registered voters. Now, assuming that there is thorough mobilization in such a manner that both the number of registered voters and voter turnout increases in both Mount Kenya region and in Ukambani region, Kalonzo Musoka is likely to gather about 22% of the total votes in the two regions, leaving him with only 28 plus one more to meet the required threshold by IEBC. Number two, Kalonzo Musoka ought to select Okiya Omtatah Okoiti as his deputy president, and for the following reasons also. Okiya Omtatah is a man of integrity who has fought for this country to the core.
Personally, I've fought occasionally as a one-man army. I don't have 10 teeth in my head. My teeth are fake. My skull has been broken twice. Yes, sir. But the issue is we must remain faithful. And I was knocked out 10 teeth because I refused a bribe of 9 million.
Omtatah is a regular activist and a litigant who has earned the reputation of Kenyans for exposing William Ruto's corruption scandals to the core. Omtatah is also well versed with matters of law and administration, but most importantly, this gentleman has earned the confidence and trust of young people who will have the majority votes come 2027. Remember, the new generation of voters who will register to vote in 2027 are tribeless and churchless. unlike the previous generation who voted in 2022. Mr. Omtata will also bring to the table votes from Western Kenya, which constitutes about 9.5% of the total registered voters. William Ruto's popularity in Western Kenya has significantly dropped since he ascended to the presidency, and because of this, they will more likely to vote for Okiya Omtata to deputize Kalonzo Musoka. An 80% voter turnout in Western will give Omtata and Kalonzo Musoka about 7% of the total votes, bringing Kalonzo Musoka tally to about 30%. Now, in as much as Raila Odinga sent a few of his dogs into William Ruto's government, the Nyanza region in its entirety is not happy about William Ruto's regime. Personally, I don't recall having met any single human being from Nyanza who can cast a vote for William Samoei Ruto. The days in which people would just blindly listen to Raila Odinga in the Nyanza region are long gone. Majority of the people, young and old, are looking at both sides of the coin and weighing which direction can most benefit them. Nyanza region constitutes about 14% of total registered voters. Assuming an 80% voter turnout, as well as a well-calculated mobilization of Gen Zs and millennials, Kalonzo Musioka's ticket can gather about 11%, bringing his tally to about 41%. The coastal region has in the past rallied behind Odinga, but since Raila Odinga is known to change his political stance as soon as he loses, I think the region will not hesitate to vote for Kalonzo Musoka. The 9+1 vote that is remaining can be obtained from other remaining parts of Kenya who are tired and exhausted by the punitive policies of the William Ruto regime. For the deputy president position, either Okia Omtata or Dr. Fred Matiangi can do, but this will depend on the analysis of the ground as 2027 is slowly approaching. Someone like Richard Onyonka can make a very good cabinet secretary, while Morara Kebaso can make a chair of a committee in the National Assembly. At the end of the day, guys, this is just but my opinion. Do let me know what your thoughts and opinions are by leaving a comment below. And in the event you're watching for the first time, please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more informative content such as this. And if you're watching for the first time, please go over to YouTube and search for Patrick Odero. You'll get a lot of content on my recent analysis on current political affairs in the country. Cheers.